Good evening once again. I'm Stephanie Rule. We are about to enter day 42 of Russia's invasion. Ukraine has accused Russian forces of carrying out a campaign of terror against civilians in the town of Bucha. Today, Ukraine's President Zelensky took his nation's case to the UN. In a scathing address to the Security Council, he described the massacre in graphic detail and challenged the UN to take immediate action.
If this continues, the countries will rely only on the power of their own arms to ensure their security, and not on international law, not rely on international institutions. The United Nations can be simply closed. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to close the UN? And now we need decisions from the Security Council for peace in Ukraine. If you do not know how to make this decision, you can do two things. Either remove Russia as an aggressor and a source of war, or if there is no alternative and no option, then the next option would be dissolve yourself altogether.
And despite mountains of first-hand witnesses and evidence, Russia has repeatedly denied responsibility for what happened in Bucha, and its ambassador to the UN added this.
During the time that the town was under the control of the Russian armed forces, not a single civilian suffered from any kind of violence.
NBC's own Richard Engel went to Bucha, and we warn you, some of the stories and images in his report are disturbing, but they need to be seen.
Ukrainian troops kicked the Russians out of this Kyiv suburb and once again are in charge. But for 5 weeks, Russian soldiers occupied Bucha, destroyed much of it, and imposed a reign of terror. Today, residents were coming out of hiding. In front of their building, Valentina and her friend said Russian soldiers went apartment to apartment, mostly searching for men. They were breaking open doors with axes and sledgehammers, she says. If you talked back, they shot you. A few feet away was a grave Valentina dug with her friend.
You put up a cross. You buried 4 people here?
2 were our neighbors, she says. We don't know who the other 2 are, but buried them anyway. She says all 4 of them were machine gunned by Russian troops. She doesn't know why. Please don't let this happen again, she says. We are regular, hard-working people. Ukrainian troops estimate hundreds of civilians were murdered in Bucha. They are still finding bodies after a wanton disregard for human life here that even in war is a crime.
We are over a month into this conflict, and there are virtually no signs of a potential peace deal. Today, U.S. military officials gave a sobering assessment of what is likely ahead.
I do think this is a very protracted conflict, and I think it's at least measured in years.
Years. Meanwhile, the U.S. is sending Ukraine an additional $100 million in Javelin anti-tank missiles, and there are new efforts to squeeze the Russian economy. The EU has proposed banning Russian coal as part of a new round of sanctions, and the U.S. is making efforts to force Russia to drain the dollars they hold in Russia. Tomorrow, the White House will unveil its latest round of sanctions against the country. And also tonight, we are following the latest on the January 6th investigation. The House committee heard from the former president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, earlier today. She testified for almost 8 hours.